Do you believe? Broncos get the season opener to the Tennessee Titans. Here to talk about it and more. Orange Blue today, post-game live. Cecil Lammey ready to break down the good, break down the bad, talk about this team getting the win and kicking things off the right way. The rough way, but the right way. It's week one, baby. Right? Come on, let's feel good. Football's back. And yeah, things were a little rough because it's week one. That's going to be a point of emphasis that I have across the entire show. So just get used to it. Because there's some things that carried over from training camp. There are some changes that the team may have to be considering now. We're here to break it all down. Orange or Blue today, post-game live. Cecil Lammey here to be, well, not lose my mind, as some people had thought. And I even saw the reaction on social networking of like, I can't wait for Cecil to lose his mind. Yeah, it's week one. It's week one. Why would I do that? It's week one and it's a win. So what are the issues? There are issues. This thing wasn't perfect, but the Broncos get the win 20-12. I said 24-10. So this goes in line with what I had thought would be a slow game. A game that, you know, you talk about fast start. It's a win, so that gets you on the fast start there. But also at the same time, I look at this and I say, okay, here we go, right? Here we go, Broncos Country. And it was going to be like this because we had seen the offense struggle when it came to preseason football. We had seen the offense struggle when it came to training camp football. And so today, when we see the offense struggle, none of us can really lose our minds. Now, maybe you want to, and you want to get all stressed out and all worked up. But for me, I go, did you win? Did you win? Did you show improvements as the game went on? And will you have things to work on? Yeah, the Evan Ingram thing sucks. We don't yet know. Coach will talk about it. He'll talk about, you know, the Evan Ingram calf injury. What are we looking at there? What does the team do if they have to have Ingram miss some time, right? So it's a win, and it's get it out the way. Tennessee, done. Now regroup, see what you can do next time out against Indianapolis, which looked, one, the Dolphins just absolutely suck. Like, just terrible. Had a lot of fun watching football today, and the Dolphins. So, like, if we look to next week's game, which I'll do a little bit at the end of the show, obviously going to go through this game. But, you know, it's just get this week one opponent out of the way. A great unknown with a rookie quarterback that you contained, that you handled, even though there were some times, there were some punches, there were some shots there. But get this game, get a W, get it out the way, and then learn. Hopefully stay healthy-ish, knock on wood. Again, we're going to learn about Evan Ingram, what's going on there with the calf injury. But you got to believe, man. You got to believe. Not just because that's what my shirt says. You got to believe. But, yeah, I mean, it's week one. They got to win. They got to win, and that's all that really matters. And I'm already like 100 comments behind in the chat room. Yeah, Cole says, can't even believe that Ingram didn't make it through game one. And Ingram's the one that doesn't have the injury history of Dre Greenlaw, who didn't play, and J.K. Dobbins, who was out there. And, you know, I thought we'd see a little bit more of J.K., maybe just a little bit, but we'll see. We'll see. Let me see. There's someone. Oh, Derek says, RIP, 13 wins. Old players that pick up as discounts dropping down. Bad. Yeah, let's not go there. Cecil, let's hear the excuse, my dude. Excuse for what? They won. There's bad decisions along the way. What was Sean Payton doing running that play to Marvin Mims at the end? Even Deion Sanders thought that was a bad play to call. So we have some questions there. Ben Powers had a terrible game. So we can nitpick, and, well, we will. But at the same time, we also have to realize that it's week one. So it's not an excuse. And this is probably not BK from Gorilla Sports, because BK is very special. But the other BK says, where's the excuses? I don't think it's an excuse to say they won. Is that an excuse? They won. Things don't look perfect right now. If you came into this game and I had done plenty of warning for you, and this isn't anything to do about me, I saw a lot of that today. I saw a lot of it after the CU game where people, I told you that, okay, God, everyone, stop. Please stop. This has nothing to do with, I told you, but there was plenty of warning for everyone out there to say, hey, this offense, I had said in July, right? July, early August, I was like, man, Titans, that's 35-10. That's your defense scores the touchdown. That's, 3 interceptions, all that kind of stuff. And then I saw this offense and I went, huh. Mason and I have been saying it. Dover and I have been saying it. Like, hey, hold on, please. Like, this offense is going to take some time. But there's plenty of positives along to go on with this concern. So, whatever excuse, W. I really wish I could cuss. I'm sorry I can't. It's the YouTube overlords, and it's, Denver sports probably wouldn't like it. But forget you if you're thinking there's excuses for this team. There's some bad decisions. There's some bad play from certain players, and there's some really good play from other players. For example, I thought Justin Sternad had a really good game. I thought Jonah Ellis came through in a big way. Nick Benito, my God. Zach Allen, Jonathan Cooper. The list goes on. Cortland Sutton coming through for his guy in Bo Nix. Bo Nix was off. I thought mechanically, let's start there. Let's start with Bo Nix, and I'll run through the box score for you. And yes, Chuck, the offense was acting a bit cocky. I think that was Sean at the end being like, we got this. Like, yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Just run the ball, as Michael says. And I agree with that, Michael. Just run the ball, please, for the love of God. What are we doing? What are we doing? I picked the wrong week to stop drinking. Right on, Holy Diver. Beavis saying Bo Nix looked rattled from the start. The Titans said this all week just to contain him with pressure and he'll fold. Did they crack the code? I don't believe so. There was the conversation from some of like, well, there's film on Bo Nix now. Oh my God. There was film on Bo Nix around week 10. There was film on Bo Nix around week 14 last year. Like you get usually the number that I give for like, you can do something until they get film on you. It's about 4 weeks. This was 18, 19, his 19th game. So there's been film on him. Oh God, math. 4 times over, almost 5 times over. So there's film, everybody. And I don't think Beavis is suggesting like it's because they had film on him, but nah, not the code. They're just a defense that's well prepared. And I don't think it's like pressure. Yeah, quarterbacks look mortal under pressure. Bo Nix needs to look better. And for the love of God, they need to have a better offensive game plan. Sean Payton, I thought, was off in this contest. And, they'll clean that up as the year goes on. But let me start with Bo Nix, because I thought Bo Nix was off today. And certainly not the type of day that he wants with those turnovers, which are very un-Bo Nix-like, where it's 25 of 40, 176 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 INTs. Those INTs aren't something that he was doing regularly. Now, to begin the year as a rookie, he was, and then he cleaned that up. But the 2 INTs is a concern. Also had the lost fumble there as well from Bo Nix. So let's talk about Bo. My main thing for Bo was I wanted to see his mechanics, because too often in this training camp and a bit in this preseason, I saw Bo's mechanics be a little wonky when they didn't need to be. If the pocket's clean and the play is true, just step into your throw and have better accuracy. He can still throw on the run. He can bootleg. He could square up his shoulders even when he's rolling to his left. So again, we can talk about the film. He rolls to, all he does is roll to his right. Rolled to his left plenty today. Threw it, rolling to his left plenty today. I don't see that as being the issue. I thought for the most part, I was very happy with his footwork. I was happy when, he'd even stand there and take a shot. You don't want to see that, but there are times when you have to mechanically stay true to deliver that pass in the tightest of tight windows. And I thought Bo did that today. So that was a positive thing. I was not like high level concerned with Bo Nix. It's not like I was paranoid or panicked or whatever, but I had just seen enough from Bo Nix to be like, God, I hope that's not a bad habit. God bless America. Don't start getting the bad habit of doing that, throwing off your back foot. So we didn't see Bo Nix show that today. And I think if we take away like silver linings, and it's a win, by the way, like, let's not act like it doesn't count on your permanent record. It's a win, for the love of God. Like, everyone, let's talk about the concerns. Let's also be happy it's a damn win. Anyway, I wanted to watch Bo Nix closely, look at his footwork. I was very happy with his footwork. In game, with, live reps, live tackling, we see that Bo Nix, kept his mechanics true, threw on the run, threw off platform when he needed to, but wasn't throwing off platform when he didn't need to. And I think that's a big win for Bo Nix. So again, kind of a concern in training camp at the preseason that I had seen some of that. I'm not saying my concerns are permanently squelched, but it's nice to come out in week one when you're under pressure. Ben Powers did not have a good game. Ben Powers is not getting used to this wide zone blocking. Going to give Ben Powers time and just look at his cap number. He ain't going anywhere. Now, you could bench him, maybe put Palcho in, but it's week one. Let's continue this conversation. But know this, that in week one, I was happy to see that Bo Nix's mechanics were good. Clean up the picks. Stop trying to have so much arm arrogance. Really, that's what at least one of the picks, pick off to the right side, he's trying to hit Troy. I believe that was his first pick. That's arm arrogance. I'm going to throw it up there because I know I can get it there. No, you didn't, and you didn't see the coverage. So clean that up for Bo Nix. Will Bo Nix do that? Yeah. Why? Because Bo Nix is a psychopath. I think, and that's his words, not mine. I think there are probably 2 or 3 guys that are going to be super pissed after this game with their own performances. One is Marvin Mims. And I'm going to talk to Darren Rizzi on Thursday, and I'm pretty much going to ask him, like, do you even say anything to a guy like Marvin after a muff punt? Because he was so pissed, throwing his helmet around, smacking it on the ground. Like, I think with a guy like Marvin, he's one of those self-starters. And, I've often said last year how pissed off Marvin was. He didn't really publicly air that, but you could tell, like, he wanted more opportunity. He earned more opportunity. So today, like, I think he'll be pissed off with his personal grade, and Bo Nix will as well. Bo Nix isn't going to just, sit on his ass and drink a bunch of beer and be like, yeah, it's fine, whatever. He's going to get back in the lab, and he's going to get back in film study, and he's going to understand what these guys were doing. But mechanically, he was sound. When he needed to be sound, he was sound. So that's a huge positive, and it's something that Bo did last year. So again, I wasn't really expecting it. It's just kind of training camp made me a little nervous there. Maybe I should be less nervous. Maybe I should cut down on caffeine. But with this beautiful Mountain Dew summer freeze, then that's no. It's no. It's a no for me, dog. I'm going back to the caffeine as I continue to talk about this Broncos team and talk about this Broncos win over the Tennessee Titans. So your thoughts on Bo Nix? Again, are these turnovers going to continue? I saw, and this is why I had stopped live tweeting. One, I hate anything. I don't like live tweeting during practice, like training camp, because you'll do this, like, oh, I got to tweet this, blah, 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 that everyone else tweets, by the way. And then all of a sudden you look up and you miss something. I hate that. And I hate live tweeting in a game because you'll be like, oh my God, and then it'll be totally fine. So, I'd seen some live tweeting of people, don't at me, bro, but I was getting added. And it was like, I can't believe this is terrible. And you said Super Bowl and you said 13 wins. For the love of God, it's week one and they won. you must be much better. By the way, starting in week 3, and Indy's not going to be any slouch either, although Miami's just awful. I cannot impress you enough. This isn't a Dolphin show, but my God, that is not a good team. And I like Mike McDaniel a lot. He's going to get fired before Thanksgiving at this rate. So anyway, team needs to be much better starting in week 3. You got the win. Let's talk about it. And again, drop your comments down below. That's what really helps the algorithm. Appreciate the live chat comments here as well as we talk about Bo Nix. What'd you think about Bo's performance? Do you believe that he will improve and he will get better? And I think the answer for all of us should be a resounding yes. Let's get to that backfield, because this was something, as a team, you saw that they averaged about 90 yards a game. It was among the lowest in the league. You saw their rushing attempts, 30 rushing attempts, 40 passing attempts for Bo. I wanted Bo around 25 passing attempts, and I wanted around, 35 rushing attempts. So 30 rushing attempts, 40 passing attempts. You didn't see that balance there in those 70 plays, but you did see, and you saw, by the way, 8 carries for Bo Nix. That's about 4 times as much as I want. I want a couple carries for Bo. And you saw design stuff. You saw scrambles. Of course, Jeffrey Simmons saying, Bo Nix, he makes one read and he takes off to run. Well, it seemed like there were times he was flat out refusing to run. I was like, okay, I'm a smart ass, which is better than being a dumbass, and I'm ornery. So my game plan would have been like, just don't ever run to prove those guys wrong. But who cares? Just go win and make sure, Bo Nix continues to progress in that. So the 8 carries, I could do without that. 16 carries for J.K. Dobbins. So about what I thought, 3.9 a carry, 1 rushing touchdown to help really put this thing away. 3.9 a carry. Okay. Tough for day, tough defensive front. Certainly Dobbins kind of battling there. It's better than Javante's 3.6 a carry. After the Dallas game, again, don't at me, bro, but there were so many people like acting like Javante was Emmitt Smith, right? And it was 3.6 a carry and a couple of touchdowns. So it was 3.9 a carry. You want to bump that up. It's got to be 4 yards a carry. So close enough, but 3.9 a carry, 1 touchdown, 16 carries. I like that. What I really like is that 50-yard run from RJ Harvey. And if you go back and you watch it, it's inside out. He starts it inside. He cuts out to the left. He turns on the speed, and it's a 50-yard game. So 6 carries for 70 yards. You love to see that. I would have started this game out running the ball more, but this was the type of game with their performance that was lacking, where it wasn't working, and you needed to go to the ground game. You had a little bit of a lead, and then you needed to go to the ground game because your other stuff wasn't working. Sean Payton was being a little bit too cute. Evan Ingram had a calf injury, and that was a problem for this. That was a problem for the Broncos offense. So then you go back to the rushing attack, and you say, okay, you guys lead the way. JK helped to do that, and then RJ with that big play really kind of setting things off there from the running back position. So 30 carries, 151 yards, 5 yards a carry. The Dobbins 1 rushing touchdown. That's fantastic. Again, I think it's too many carries for Bo Nix, but 30 for 150, 5 yards a clip. Yeah, man, take that all day. You'll take that all day. Now you want to kind of reduce Bo Nix's passing attempts a little bit. You want to up the rushing attempts. It could be 16 for JK. Why not 12 for RJ? Double up his. Get him, push him towards that 100-yard mark. But you see a play in this game, by the way, and our man Zach Bye from The Drive will tell you that they haven't had a run over 22 yards and however long it's been. Well, there you go. There's a run of 50 yards for RJ Harvey, and it's as advertised. I think when you look at this week and just kind of this season, there are comparisons that we're going to make all across the board. There's comparisons we're going to make for RJ Harvey, and there's fans that are going to be watching Omarion Hampton, who had his struggles against Kansas City. Ashton Genty's on a different level, so that's not part of the conversation. But fans are going to be looking at Travion Henderson. They're going to be looking at Bill, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt for the late round pick anyway. But it's something that you go, okay, RJ Harvey, he looked the part. There's a reason why Sean Payton saw him on film and told himself to shut up. Please shut up. There's a reason why. And that reason you saw clearly in this contest how Sean Payton wanted to use RJ Harvey, and it was glorious. It was absolutely outstanding. So you love to see that, and you want to see more. You want to see more, and hopefully in the future we'll be able to see said more. But right now, it's a hell of a start, man. For RJ Harvey, I think that's great. Now, a catch, a negative yard, whatever. It's one of those, as a younger player, was just trying to make a play for his quarterback, rush play. So whatever. As a receiver, he could have shown more. But again, the passing game wasn't really working. Trent Sherfield had a bad game. By the way, I'm looking at the box score. It's like 1 for negative, 1 for RJ, and then 1 for 3 yards for Trent Sherfield. That's 1 catch. And then what? 2 penalties? And I did like seeing GB zone Garrett Bowles go over there when Trent Sherfield got another penalty to negate a play. And big fella went over there. He's like, hey, calm down. Let's win this game. Don't let your emotions get overboard. And I thought Trent Sherfield did let his emotions get overboard. Good thing GB was there to kind of calm him down. And that's not what you want to see from the veteran special teams guy. Like, if you're going to be out there on offense, which he is, play true, don't make mistakes, don't have penalties. Regardless of the ref saw it wrong or whatever, I totally wasn't holding, doesn't matter. Don't have those penalties, don't kill your team. The Adam Prentice play, again, this is where Sean was getting a little too cute for my taste, where, what was that, a 3rd and long? And he's like, let's throw to Adam Prentice. That's never going to work. That has nothing to do with Adam Prentice. He's the nicest guy ever, or whatever I have to say. But like, throwing to your fullback on a 3rd and long, you might as well just punt on 3rd down. It's essentially what you're doing with that play. So again, Sean Payton, like, he had to work some of his own kinks out. So Bo could have been better if Sean had been better in calling his plays. And a throw to Adam Prentice, not to sound bad, but I don't need to see Adam Prentice or Michael Burton or anybody, any fullback ever get a toss. Unless you're in the red zone, it's like one play and it's a touchdown. When it's in between the lines, like, I don't need to see a fullback catching a pass there. You saw Adam Troutman with the catch for 5 yards, Lucas Kroll with the catch for 6 yards to open things up. And Kroll coming out at the beginning of this contest, that was interesting. And if anything happens with Evan Ingram, Kroll's the guy to then step up in that instance, because he's your other F tight end, your flex tight end, your move tight end, basically. Troutman, Adkins, when he's healthy, these guys are wide tight ends. They're blockers and receivers. Although Troutman had a catch just like Kroll. Maybe there's more there, but overall, what is that, 5? If you count Prentice, that's 6 catches for the tight ends. So Evan Ingram with 3 catches for 21 yards, but then getting banged up with the calf injury. If anyone has an update, let us know in the chat room and then repeat it, because I'll probably get behind in the chat here if I'm doing my normal brain dump thing here. But I look at it and I go, okay, if Evan Ingram was healthy for this entire game, how would that have looked different? It would have looked different. So, that's something to consider. Again, we'll watch his health status there. Tyler Bidet with a bit of an off day. Now, no carries. It was RJ and JK with the only carries, and then Bo with 8 carries, which again, I think is way too much. But Tyler Bidet, a couple of catches, 16 yards, seemed a little bit out of place on some certain plays. So we'll continue to watch that. Marvin Mims, 3 for 12. And again, Mims with that muff punt, he's going to be super pissed. He's going to get in the lab. He's going to correct things. Like, you have correctable mistakes after a win. You did not look good because it's week 1, but it's a win. So a fast start, and maybe I'll blame Sean Payton, right? Sean Payton talking about fast start, got to start fast. That doesn't mean coming out and scoring 35 in week 1. It means get your wins, learn, get more wins, and then learn, and then get more wins. And the Broncos have done that. Now, JP says here, I believe him, yo. They have to lean hard on the run game. And that's why I think this game plan was a little bit off for Sean Payton. It's a little bit off. Art saying need to run, run, run. Exactly. They need to run, run, and run some more. And that's something that maybe that changes, but it seems like Sean can't help himself at times, and certainly got too cute with the play with Marvin Mims at the end. Had some moments there. The Prentice play was a little too cute. Had some moments where Sean wasn't calling a great game. It's week 1. He'll be better. The Broncos will be better. I think I saw Jimin in there who hates the Broncos or hates me or something. I don't know, Jimin. No excuses, Cecil. I don't think anyone's having any excuses. Again, we have to talk honestly. And the one thing I don't want on this show, and I promise you as the viewing audience, I'm not going to come on here and crap on this team. I'm going to come on here and tell you what was bad, and I'm going to come on here and tell you what was good. I don't think that's any excuses. But maybe it's the outrage as an industry society that we live in that we have to see like, this is the worst thing ever. It's a flipping win, and it's tough to win in this league, and it's week 1, and week 1 is always the weirdest week in the NFL. And September is usually really bad football. I watch football nonstop and I love it to death. But in September, I want to gouge my eyes out because it's usually a bad product. So if the Broncos are a little rough today, you go, yeah, no kidding. It's September 7th. They're going to be rough. So again, I don't know where this excuses thing comes in. They're making excuses. That's not an excuse. And again, I don't really know if that's what Jimin was saying. I don't really care. But like, enough with this excuses crap. You're not going to get excuses on this show. Mace isn't going to give you excuses. Dover's not going to give you excuses. I can't talk for Mike Evans. But like, either way, like, let's be honest. The honest take is, didn't look great, but they won. The mistakes that they made are correctable. It's not like the core of what they're doing is corrupt. And it's like, yeah, well, Tennessee just sucks, and that's why the Broncos were able to win today. Or Tennessee has a rookie quarterback, and that's why they were able to win today. What you're doing as a team, the idea, the principles are not corrupt. They're not rusty. The team is a little bit rusty, but the plan is in place. And much like everything in life, the more you do it, the better you'll get. So the more they implement these wide zone concepts, the better this team will get. And so if you want to come on here and hear sunshine, I'm not going to blow bubbles at this team, but at the same time, I'm not going to be like hyper negative on a game. This was a game that was not as satisfying as you needed it to be. Now, again, at the end of the day, it's a win. So where does that rank in your idea of how you wanted today to go? We're at the moment in time. I saw this for college football memes where I'm ready to let a bunch of 18-year-olds that I don't know control my emotions for the week, talking about college football. Well, we're at the moment in time in the fall where we're about ready to let some 25-year-olds control our emotions for the week. Didn't you want to win? Did you expect them to drop 45 today? I mean, maybe you did. That wasn't ever going to happen. And it didn't happen today. So I can rail on what went wrong, but I also can tell you what went right and what you can build on for this team going forward. Cortland Sutton, 6 for 61 and a touchdown. So Court coming through for his guy. Troy Franklin with 4 for 44 in this contest. Looking good, looking secure. The one pass that didn't connect, it looks like it was 6 targets. There were 2 that didn't connect. But the one that I remember that didn't connect with Troy, what was it? Was a little behind him, right? And it was pretty damn impossible catch. Bo was off on that throw. But Troy had a really good game, and that's something where you want to build on that going forward. Got to build on it going forward, and it looks like you can. That's something for Troy Franklin. Like, what did we see from preseason and training camp that can carry over into the regular season? The Troy Franklin, like, really good training camp preseason, that's carried over into the regular season. And I know it's, 4 for 44. It's not going to blow you away, but that's also in a week or two, that could be 6 for 120. It could be 8 for 79. Could be something like that. But you like seeing it. You like seeing it go forward here with Troy Franklin in that Broncos passing game, which was off. The Broncos passing game was off today. But thank God for that Broncos defense, because that Broncos defense showed up in a big, big, big way. Now, there are concerns still with the defense. You could see where they were picking on with this defense. You could see how it worked at times with this defense. But you also saw when they needed it, this defense stepped up and made sure that they did their job and secured the victory for this team. Now, if we talk about Nick Bonito, freshly paid, making plays against the run, which I always think is fun to see from Nick Bonito because of what he wasn't when he first started and then what he is now as a more complete player. Now, run defense isn't his hallmark. It's not what you'll think of when you think of Nick Bonito, but he's not a slouch against the run anymore. Whereas when he came into the league, he was incredibly weak against the run, and he was a pass rusher that didn't have refined moves. Now he's a pass rusher with multiple moves, stackable moves, refined moves, and he's not weak against the run. So lots of positives there from Nick Bonito in week one. And you love to see that out there from Bonito. I mentioned it earlier, but I thought Justin Sternad had a really good game. You needed him to have a good game. You needed him to have that confidence building sort of game. And I thought with Justin Sternad, you did see that, where he could take this film and really kind of build confidence from that. And last year, Sternad's game didn't really fall off until Riley Moss got hurt. So as long as everyone's mostly healthy behind him, we should expect good play from Justin Sternad, both as a run defender and in coverage. And in coverage is where this team will be tested. You're going to test certain things against the Broncos. You're going to test the inside linebackers. You're going to test the safeties. I thought the safeties were tested a bit today. And you're obviously going to test Riley Moss. Riley Moss was tested. And for the most part, I thought Riley had a good game. 7 tackles, 5 solo, and a couple of passes defensed for Riley Moss. So he got tested. He came through on his tests. So you love to see that, because you're not really going to throw at Pat Surtain. I thought maybe Surtain would see a little bit more based on it being a rookie quarterback, being, bold, being a guy that maybe doesn't know what he doesn't know yet and would attempt to go after a guy like Pat Surtain. We didn't see that. So I guess good job for Tennessee of not having him go after Pat Surtain as much as maybe a younger quarterback would, especially a bold quarterback like Cam Ward. So you see that. Jonathan Cooper, rock solid all day. It's what he does. And Cooper's the lunch pail guy. He's the hard hat guy. He showed up. He showed out. That's exactly what we're seeing from Jonathan Cooper. With Jonah Ellis, we're also seeing that hustle. We're also seeing the moves to get after the passer, being able to set up your moves now. And as a young player, you go from entering the league, kind of your head swimming, to now you're going to be able to see Jonah Ellis start to set up things. Now he's got to have more playing time, again, giving a breather for Jonathan Cooper there. But Ellis is the type of player that will have the savvy to set up a guy by doing a certain move one way and then coming out and making it look like one move and doing a secondary move. That's called stacking moves. Ellis is really good at doing that. He'll continue to do that going forward as well. So you love to see that from Jonah Ellis. And of course, Pat Surtain, rock solid all day. So, that's what it is there. I thought that Dondrea Tillman almost got home on that one play. And sorry for my phone going off there. But you see with this pass rush, it's just waves and waves and waves of this pass rush and what these guys are doing and, what they're doing to create pressure on a young quarterback. That's what you'll see week in and week out with this Broncos defense, and exactly what they needed. It's what they needed, and what they needed will continue going forward, because when the chips are down and you need that defense to come through, that's what they did. They did that for this team. And they did that also, like after the Marvin Mims muffed punt. Really got to slow down when you say that. You saw the defense go out there, like you do your job, you get them off the field, and then your punt returner drops it, and you have to go right back out there. But the defense didn't let up after that play specifically. And it's kind of like they helped out Marvin because they essentially moved Tennessee out of field goal range because of the defensive effort. So they came through and like kind of got Marvin's back after Marvin made that play that he was super pissed about. So it's good to see that the defense can do that. Of course, they will do that. And that's what they'll continue on doing going forward. So there you go. Going back to the chat room here. And this is one of those games, it's going to be, well, I'll just say this. You all are probably going to be pretty annoyed by the comments that you'll see on social networking, because it's like, Denver sucks. They look terrible. They did not look good. They did not look the way that they can look. But it's not the end of the world. It's not sky is falling. It's not like disaster. Back to an earlier comment, it's not like, don't say 13 wins. Like, no, okay. How about you just go, all right, it's week 1. Things were rough. Hopefully they're less rough for the Broncos going forward. Hopefully they're less rough in a couple of weeks, because the Chargers are going to test you. The Bengals will test you. They won't play defense. And then the Eagles, of course. 3, 4, and 5. Weeks 3, 4, and 5. Those are big, big tests. And you won't really be as sharp as you need to be just based on the timing of what you're trying to do. And the introduction of the wide zone concepts, more wide zone, because they did it last year, but not as their kind of foundation of what they want to do. So you get this one, it'll be a win. I would suggest, just saying, let's go Broncos. I would suggest saying, let's clean up those mistakes. I would not suggest the things of like, I saw someone say, Bo Nix is Mac Jones. That's stupid. Don't be dumb and don't be in a cult. And to say that Bo Nix is Mac Jones is a stupid comment. If you say that, or if you believe that, or if you tweet that, I was just joking. No, you're being stupid. Don't do that. Like, Bo Nix is not Mac Jones. He had a bad game. His coach didn't call the best plays for him. His coach, Sean Payton, needs to be more in line with Bo in the game, but it's week 1. And because the preseason doesn't really exist now, it takes a month for every team in the league to kind of be closer to their best. Some teams don't do that until after Thanksgiving. I hope the Broncos don't take that long to get there. I hope that after Thanksgiving, the Broncos are even better than they are as they crescendo towards Thanksgiving and towards their week 12 bye. I think it's week 12, isn't it? But that's what I hope for this team. I hope that they'll kind of like get it, quote unquote, as the season goes on, and they'll continue to stack wins and stack days with big time tests coming up with the Chargers, the Bengals, and the Eagles in weeks 3, 4, and 5. So you got it. You got the W. It was not satisfying. It was disappointing, but there's no reason to kind of jump off the train, so to speak, or the bandwagon, or go ahead and jump off. I thought this Broncos bandwagon got a little too full anyway. I thought, and I had mentioned it on something. I'm sorry, I talk a lot. I mentioned it on something of like, I'm sick of them being everyone's sexy, like Super Bowl pick. Like, y'all didn't even like Bo Nix a year ago, and now they're a Super Bowl pick just because you're buddies with Sean Payton. Like, so if people jump off the bandwagon, I say good, because if you're going to know, oh, it's week 1. It's going to be like this. It's going to look almost exactly like this. This game, outside of Sean's boneheaded play calling, and that's what it was at times, there weren't many surprises for me. I was surprised Bo Nix threw 2 picks maybe make one mistake, but throwing a couple of picks is a surprise for Bo. And those 3 turnovers for Bo are very un-Bo-like. Still doesn't mean he's Mac Jones. So, just overall, I knew this defense would ball out. I knew that Riley Moss would get tested. I knew that Nick Bonito would make plays. Like there's so many things that we already knew. I knew the crowd would show up. Y'all showed up at Mile High, Empower a Field at Mile High. I wanted to see, I couldn't really say anything about J.K. Dobbins because we just didn't know. And 3.9 a carry is not really what you need because you want 4 or more. But yeah, 3.94, whatever. It's close enough. So he gave Broncos Country what they needed as the lead back. You want a little bit more. You can be greedy, 100-yard game or whatever. Yeah, sure. That's great. RJ Harvey came through. Evan Ingram getting banged up was disappointing. Franklin continuing his training camp success to the regular season. Sutton being the rock solid star that he is for the Broncos. So really, outside of Sean Payton's boneheaded calls and 3 turnovers from Bo Nix, what surprised you? This is how it was going to be. This is how this game was going to be. I had 24-10. So what was it, 20-12? Yeah. So, all right. It's week 1. They're working through some stuff, and they'll be cleaner and they'll be better as the year goes on. All right, let's get to the chat room. And if you're troll, well, I'm probably not going to put your comment up on the board. But let's get to the chat room. Let me know how you guys feel. Am I crazy for not losing my mind and saying like this is disaster? And for the love of God, don't say excuses. Although I know people are going to be like, you're just filling it with excuses. There's really no excuse. You won. You have reasons why you didn't look as good. Those are reasons, not excuses. So what is it? What'd you think of this game? And what'd you think of this team after one game? Jesse says, Keanu, my man. There you go. So let me know. And we also have some website guy. At least it's not a corn website, as I have to say, on YouTube. But yeah, some like spam is in the chat room. So sorry about that. There you go. I like this one. Caden, you're not crazy, Cecil. Just chat full of fair weather fans. Okay. Susie says, no, you're on point. Thank you, Susie. I appreciate that. And then I agree with Paul right here. We're about to find out. Colts not a slouch after all. And Daniel Jones had some fight. I know it's Daniel Jones, whatever, and you expect the defense to show up. But Jonathan Taylor, all apologies to Tony Pollard, but Jonathan Taylor's, I don't know, twice as good, 3 times as good as Tony Pollard at 18 for 60, 3.3 a carry, long of 9. You're going to take that all day. And Pollard was their leading receiver with 29 yards receiving. So their starting running back, math, 89 all-purpose yards on 19 touches. Well, you're going to take that, especially after the way that the Bills gassed you for, 250 on the ground? So 21 for 71 on the ground. You'll take that all day, holding an opponent or their passer to 112 yards. No touchdowns, no INTs for Cam Ward. Sacked 6 times. So you love to see that. So again, like there's things to build on, and the Colts will give you challenges in ways that the Titans were not able to. The Titans were not able to. So there you go. So back to the chat room. And I'm going to pull up your comments. Broncos look okay. The defense looks good. Yeah, the offense, okay, is probably the best compliment you could give. It's overboard to be like disaster and all that. But like, yeah, the offense was okay. RJ Harvey was outstanding. Cortland Sutton came through rock solid. And Troy Franklin, there's something more there. Bo with the turnovers, got to clean that up. Bo had a bad day. Sean had a bad day, and they still won. And I think along the way, you're going to have games like this, as much as we hate him. And Jeremy's perfect right here. Jeremy, this is perfect. Cautiously optimistic. We know it's week 1. We know there's going to be struggles. We know there's things to work on, and they will work on them. And that's what they'll do. And that's how we'll see how it looks going forward. You cannot make the same mistakes against Tennessee that you can even against Indy. and especially not against the Chargers, and especially not against the Bengals, and really not against the world champion Philadelphia Eagles. So there's levels to this thing. You were able to make those mistakes and still beat Tennessee handily, 20-12, handily. You cannot do that against Indy. You could probably still win, but that might be a little bit closer, like maybe 20-17 if you were to make similar mistakes to Indy, and maybe you just lose. Cincinnati, they don't play defense, but their offense is really good, so you cannot just lean on your defense like you did today. Philadelphia, they're going to get at you. If you played today in week 5 against Philadelphia, if you play that same way, it's going to be embarrassing. And I don't know about you, but I don't want the Broncos to be embarrassed. That's not fun. And this team is better than that. Does it make me change my mind about 13 wins? Why should it when this is what I expected? Again, but if you want to jump off the bandwagon for the Broncos, go for it. That'd be awesome. Of course, JP comes in with excuses. Bo's perfect. This is perfect. Bad play calling. This is a bad game for Sean Payton. Is that an excuse? Like, it's a bad game for Sean Payton because he was getting cute with it. And you don't want to do that even in week 1, even against an opponent that you felt superior to and were superior to, because the Titans have a lot of work to do, but they have a interesting defense. They've got some defense with some playmakers. And Jeffrey Simmons getting that extra penalty on Marvin Mims, that certainly helps some things, huh? Gabe rocks. And he says Sean was calling wild misdirection and crazy stuff, chasing him personal. And that's the thing also, Gabe, that I haven't yet talked about. Sean was changing up personnel grouping so much. It was like, okay, calm down, buddy. You would see almost this like hockey line change where now all of a sudden 4 new guys are in. What are we doing? What's going on here? Why is that the case? What's going on? Why is that how they want to approach things? Because I didn't like it. I like getting running back specifically in a rhythm. And this one was just like in and over here. And then you're on the sidelines. Then you're out the game. Then you're in the game. Like, it was all over the place. And it was something where it was like changing personnel just to change personnel. You don't have to show everything. Don't have to show that. Kurt with a question. Self-appointed leader of the Michigan chapter of the tribe. Thank you, Kurt. We appreciate you for that. Do you think Dobbins looked frustrated with his lack of consecutive carries? I didn't happen to catch him like on the sidelines much. Of course, I'm at home in the beautiful mountains of Roxborough. So it's not like I could have binoculars on him. I'll ask people that were at the game if they felt that way or maybe afterwards. But lack of consecutive carries, I was thinking that, and then Sean ran it like twice in a row. But I was thinking, how many times have we seen consecutive carries? Because it didn't seem like a lot, and then at the end of the game, it had to be a lot because you're just trying to work that clock down. You're using the time of possession as your ally. So he did do consecutive runs, of course, then. But let's say before the fourth quarter, it didn't seem like that happened a lot. So was Dobbins frustrated? Let me put a pin in that, Kurt, and thank you for being a part of the tribe. Appreciate you very much. I'm going to circle back to that. I think we're going to talk about this on Monday. Oh, God, tomorrow. We're going to talk about it on Monday's show of like, hey, this was interesting that the personnel groupings change all the time and that consecutive carries. I kind of like backs to get into a rhythm. And maybe my question for Joe Lombardi, if they let him answer more than 3 questions, why is that? Why can't Joe Lombardi talk to us for longer than a minute and a half? That's weird. Cop Talk's weird. It's weird. So perhaps a question for Joe Lombardi, because Sean probably wouldn't answer it, or maybe he'd get mad at you for asking the question. But it's like, okay, why in the world do you have a situation where you can't allow your guys to get into rhythm because you're just trying too many things at once? Is that the way to put it? Is that the best way to put it? It's interesting. It's interesting. I'll say that. So as we continue on here through the chat room, and we'll see what, let's say, JP, week 1, Geno on a new team had 365 yards. Yes. every game is different. Again, I don't know why Gino would be relevant to the conversation right now. But there you go. Coaches made mistakes as well as players. That's right, Sean. Coaches did have an off day. Sternad with a great game. That's right. Davis Webb needs to call the plays. It's Davis Webb's last year with the Broncos, I believe, because someone's going to scoop him up and perhaps he skips being an OC and goes straight to being a head coach. The dude's got upside, skill, and absolutely a future head coach in the making. Whether it's next year or a few years from now, I believe Davis Webb will be a head coach in this league. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Mac says, what was your opinion on Evan Ingram? Didn't use him enough, and then he got hurt. That would probably be my short summary of Evan Ingram. Would have liked to seen more of him and hope that he's okay. If anyone has an update on the calf injury, please let me know in the chat room, because obviously I'm here talking to you and I'm not watching Sean Payton's press conference. So Brad D, perfect. Brad, appreciate you, Brad. Thank you for your support as always. Relax, 16 games to go. That's what it is. That's what it is. If people are, kind of up in arms about it, still relax. See, now JD says, dude, Broncos almost lost to an offense that didn't score a touchdown. They found a way, and their offense is the one that needs to put things together. The defense did their job and then some. The defense led the way. The Broncos offense is sputtering, much like we all had predicted. All of us that saw training camp were like, okay, once I put eyes on this team, I stopped saying they're going to wax Tennessee like 45-0, 35-0. I stopped saying that a few weeks ago because this offense is sputtering. This offense has a lot of work to do. This offense, in implementing wide zone concepts, still doesn't get it yet. So, they almost lost. Well, at the end of the season, will we remember that they almost lost, or will it count as a W? Because here's the danger, and this isn't for JD, this is just for everybody. These type of games are the dangerous ones, because if you lose them, then at the end of the year, when you need that you're watching the playoff seeding, whether or not the Broncos win the AFC West, let's just say they're in it for a wild card again. This is the type of game that if you lost, you'd be like, damn it, if they hadn't lost to Tennessee, they wouldn't have to worry about this. They'd already be in the playoffs. But you won it. So I almost got ran over on my motorcycle when a lady pulled out in front of me, and I hit the back of her car and I flew off of my motorcycle over the handlebars into oncoming traffic. I almost got ran over. And that was 1995, I think. 1994, 5. I think it was 5. Yeah, so I mean, we can talk almost all day, or we can talk about they got the W. And would it make you feel better if I said the offense looked like trash? I wouldn't say it looked like trash. I would say the ground game got going eventually. I'd like to see it get going earlier. And Bo Nix has got to play better. That's it. So there you go. And yes, Daniel reiterating the point about the personnel groupings. Like, that was crazy. And then JD, I agree with this. The QB boot off wide zone requires to actually hand the ball off once in a while to work. And that was the thing. As I would see the play develop, I'd be like, oh, that's a nice way to work in that handoff. And then Bo's pulling it around. I'm like, they're never going to bite. There was one play, one of the defensive backs got pressure on Bo from the right side because he'd booted over. And it's like, well, that's never going to work because you haven't been handing off the ball. So you boot off of it, and then pressure's right in Bo's face because you're not biting on the run because you're not running. 30 carries and 8 was too many. So basically 22 carries from the backs. I want 30 carries from the backs. And can you get Bidet some carries too? Bidet was a little off, a little wonky today is the way I'd describe Tyler Bidet. So I agree with that, JD. That's a great point about the boots. Like, you have to run to sell the boot, and then you can play off the boot. So, DMC, has anyone checked on Chicken Fingers? We don't call Kevin Chicken Fingers anymore based on who gave him that nickname. And two, he wants to find himself a lady, and he's not going to do that if his nickname is Chicken Fingers. He's not going to be at Grizzly Rose being like, you want to dance? I'm Chicken Fingers from KYGO. So, yeah, let's just go with Kev, DMC. Don't bring up the old stuff. Don't bring up old stuff. Why are we talking about old stuff? No. And Kistner's like the biggest Bo Nix fan. Haven't heard from him. Did text him in the group chat. I might have heard from him now because I'm getting more chats. Yeah, haven't heard from Kevin. He's the biggest Bo Nix fan. And nothing here. Dover says, Cecil, any input? Cecil's probably doing postgame and hates these texts. Well, my phone's was, after I got one text, it was on silent. So let me know. Dover's asking, should we do a dedicated segment once a show on Mondays for callers? I like sports radio with callers, not a whole show with callers, but callers at certain times. But let me know if you think more of that. Touchdown Bo Nix, one of the good ones out there, says JK wanted the ball more. Let's put a pin in that touchdown and come back to it. Troy Franklin looks different, looks better. That's good. That's really good. So you want to see more of that. Bo looked bad, probably rust, and play calls were not great for Bo. Play calls were not great. So hopefully they're better going forward. And again, they will need to be better. Victory lap, what's up? The first drive started promising. Like, there's plenty of things to build off. And again, it's a win. I'm never going to be upset over a win. And yes, there are things to clean up. There are things that look bad, but it was a win. So there you go. James says, Joe doesn't want to talk. Very true. Very true. But it's just interesting that we can talk to Vance Joseph and Darren Rizzi for pretty much as long as we want. And Joe Lombardi's up there for a minute and a half. So might have been just first week, but whatever. Mike says, Cecil, you said multiple times leading up to week one to what to expect and to have patience. Thank you, Mike. And I think that's the biggest thing. And again, they won. Had they lost today, it'd be a different story. It's like, wow, they got a lot of work on and they lost. You dropped the ball, but they won. They have a lot to work on and they won. Kind of sounds like what you need to do. You need to work on stuff and stack wins. JP said no one predicted this outcome. That's completely untrue. I said 24-10. I said, be patient. This offense is going to be rusty. Be patient. There's things to work on. Be patient. Like, I didn't expect the Bo turnovers. The Bo turnovers are the surprise. And Sean being a bad play caller today. Somebody tell him on Twitter. He reads all of your tweets, by the way. He'll never say it publicly, but he certainly likes and comments sometimes. You're like, how did you know that? Anyway. So Chris talking about let the 4 weeks play out first. I'm saying 6 for this offense. They need to start really being sharp at week 6. Unfortunately, week 5 is against Philadelphia. So if you could hurry that up, that would be a little bit better. That's for sure. All right, getting back to the chat room, about ready to wrap up here. Victory lap saying relax. That's right. Does it concern you that while the Broncos offense looked rusty, the Chargers and Raiders looked on point? And I would say this, Beavis, back to you again, having watched the complete Chargers game, not yet the coach's tape, and then just catching some of the Raiders, mainly so I could look at Ashton Genty with my own eyes. I would say this. That's good for you, bud. I would say that's good for them. And, based on their opponents and the rust that their opponents had, and certainly all that. And then I would also point out that last year, the New Orleans Saints looked like world beaters in the first 2 games. And what'd they win? Like 4 games, whatever it was. So the first 2 weeks, there's going to be some false positives. I'm not saying, and I would say the Chargers are probably not a false positive. I'm not sure that Quentin Johnston is like ready to blow up this year. I don't forecast that. And Omarion Hampton needs to be better because he was not great, Bob, and didn't look as good as RJ Harvey. So there you go. That's a W for the Broncos. And as far as the Raiders go, like the Brock Bowers injury, somebody in the chat room, please tell me super quick. And I guess I could look it up myself, but chat room, tell me what the Bowers injury was, because it seemed severe. I don't want to be an alarmist, but, and again, so I'm going into Broncos mode away from that. And then it was like, okay, Brock Bowers was banged up. So again, Chargers, Raiders looked on point. Good for you, bud. Broncos have stuff to work on, and what's their record? Knee. Alex says knee. Rick says knee. Okay. Do we know how bad it is, everybody? Like season ending, or a few weeks, or not a week? Anyway, we'll figure all that out. So the other guys, and thank you everyone for chiming in. The other guys can have that. Let's see. Trey says all you gotta do is blame Sean or move the goalpost. Please hold him accountable as much as you should. Bo, he the main leader of this Bo Nix belief. Like Bo is not it. Can you redo that comment, but have proper grammar? Like, what? Is me? I'm going to blame Sean and move the goalpost and not hold Bo accountable as much as I should. Bo, he the main leader. Me, the leader of the Bo Nix belief, like Bo is not. So you're saying Bo's not it? Nah, anyway. I don't really have the time or the patience for any sort of that nonsense. Bo Nix will be better. What's the evidence we have of that? Last year, and Bo not changing his work and what he does and how he prepares. So do you believe or not? And I'm glad if you don't believe. I'm glad if you don't like Bo Nix. I'm glad if you don't like Sean Payton or the Denver Broncos. Good. Jump off the bandwagon. It's fine. I'm glad if you say, actually, I'm not glad. I'm not glad if you say Bo Nix is Mac Jones, because that means you're dumb. Don't be dumb. Don't be in a cult. They won, everybody. Relax and enjoy. It is Denver Sports on our YouTube channel. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you never miss a vid. Appreciate you all. Peace. Stay frosty.